Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of July 9, 2023. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological week, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. Boys, it's a very special time. Well, on Sunday, it is Mercury that is in many ways the focal point, but we may not necessarily realize it. Mercury is involved in a supremely harmonious connection with Neptune. And here's the thing, Neptune is nebulous, meaning that we don't always realize that Neptunian energy is at play, especially in the moment. It can be so dreamy, so ephemeral, so hard to pin down. All we know, and especially with energy like this, there's a phrase called rose-colored glasses. It means seeing things way more idealistically than they probably merit. Well, that's the kind of energy we have playing out here. With Mercury in the sign of Cancer, trine Neptune, speaking in supreme harmony with Neptune, chances are our perception is magical. We are seeing things that are so beautiful, so perfect, so wonderful, so carried away on an esoteric cloud. And that can be a lot of fun. There definitely are moments that you want to tap into that more imaginative perception. And actually, yes, much of life is magical, is a miracle. However, when we go too high on that pink cloud, there is always the reverse, always. For every high, there is a low. And the high of that pink cloud of those rose-colored glasses is stark, needing to look underneath the rock at the muck and the uncertainty that is there. And that comes rather quickly. It is on Monday that Mercury stands across the sky from Pluto. And it's such an interesting contrast here because on the one hand is the high hopes, but then that energy, Mercury opposite Pluto, well, that can speak to struggles, especially power struggles, power games, or feeling as if certain exchanges, conversations, feeling as if people are speaking to us in a way that is not fair or that is not right or leaves us feeling exposed or uncomfortable in some way. And I'm so sorry to say, I know that that isn't necessarily the most lovely exchange that you're going to have. Sunday, more likely to have those lovely exchanges. But what does it actually mean when you look more closely at what is taking place, what is being said, what is being promised versus the actual nitty-gritty of a situation? We are going to be in some way confronted by this dichotomy. Our hopes, our wishes, our fantasies may be very high. And again, magic is a part of life. We need that as human beings. It can't be way too stark all the time because that can be exhausting. But as high as we go is as low as we go, especially in the first 2 days of this week. If we really allow ourselves to get way carried away, well, chances are needing to accept what's underneath the surface will feel that much more jarring. And yet, either way, whether we get there by being jarred or we get there by gently turning over that rock, we get to the same place, which is what is the truth? The truth of a dynamic, the truth of the power struggles, and the truth of our power within this moment. Mercury in the sign of Cancer asks us to connect to genuine care and to recognize family and to speak to each other as family wherever we go. But the thing is, even families aren't always functional. And sometimes it is family that has a way of pushing your buttons more than just about anyone else. And sometimes that's intentional. Sometimes it's not. With the best of intentions, we can end up feeling vulnerable and exposed, or that certain dynamics just aren't respectful or fair. That can open up something very deep that reaches way back. And so the energies now involve a choice, cultivating compassion and a determination to see with eyes of faith. and eyes of compassion, even in the face of our own vulnerabilities coming to the forefront so strongly that it can feel overpowering if we let it, if we are not diligent with the choice that we make to align with greater love and greater wisdom. There is freedom and levity to be found in choosing love. It is not always the instinctual choice. It's not always our default choice, but in so doing, in understanding genuine care, healthy care for ourselves and for each other, we really are able to open ourselves up to a depth of love and wisdom and understanding more than we knew before. But also, that levity is the very definition of freedom. It allows us to move through the world and move through life with an openness, knowing that by being open, there can still be things that leave us feeling vulnerable or unsure. And so that openness, well, it involves what's happening on Friday. As much as that tension of Mercury in Cancer opposite Pluto, that power struggle might feel strong or might take over our thoughts, it is once we get to the end of the week, on Friday more specifically, when the sun will speak in harmony with Uranus. The sun moving through the sign of Cancer as well. By that point, Mercury will have moved on into a brand new sign. But we get to the end of the week, the sun is still in Cancer, and that Uranian connection, it is one of things turning around very quickly and very much to our advantage. I tend to see the sextile of the sun and Uranus as representing a delightful surprise, a sense that things can change very quickly, and the promise of that spurs us to action. And as a result of our actions, fortunate turnarounds become possible to us. Because this is a sun in Cancer, chances are it's a turnaround in our own feelings, in our own emotion, in our understanding of our sensitivity, but also how to use that sensitivity to our advantage towards some higher end, to elevate our sensitivity so that it is of service to some higher calling for our own lives, but also to some higher purpose, to humanity even as well. It is Uranus, after all, that does speak to higher callings and the whole of humanity. Where is it that we can bring that sensitivity, but not to the point where we lose ourselves in the things of the world that right now we may not necessarily control? It is in that appreciation and the openness that happens simultaneously that a fortunate turn of events follows. We're able to cultivate real brilliance, new ideas, new feelings, new ways of connecting with each other that open up an appreciation of the family that is all around us everywhere we go. We have got planets on the move now. It is on Monday that Mars will move into the sign of Virgo, leaving the sign of Leo behind. Mars in Leo can be very confident, very forward. It's very much about the intensity and the adrenaline of our more fabulous side. But Virgo, in contrast, is earth. It is practical. It is grounded. It is real. And it is Virgo energy that likes to consider not just the big picture like Leo energy can, but it likes to consider the nuances, the details, the finer moments, but also the finer things of life as well. How do we know that something is really good? Well, usually something is really good when it is done very well. And things are done well when they have been done repeatedly again and again. And after being done repeatedly, learning from each repetition, we get to the place where we know with precision what is good and what is done well. Mars has a understanding of action. It is a very embodied principle. It is the force, the truth, the self-knowledge that is found within our physical selves. And then that energy being directed outward focused on acting from that place of self-knowledge, hand in hand with passion and conviction. That is when we find peace with Mars. And in this case, it isn't enough to just feel the passion. It isn't enough just to act, but incorporating an element of self-reflection and of strategy to make sure that our actions are effective and meaningful, to make sure that we've thought through what our true motivations are. Why is it we're making the choices that we are? How are we exerting ourselves in the world towards each other? And where is it that we can come from a perspective of what not just makes sense, but what is it that feels like it is going to be effective and going to truly express a truth that didn't just come upon us in inspiration in a moment, isn't just what we're feeling right now, but our own repeated experiences, our own diligence, our own contemplations has brought us to that point of knowing our truth enough to live it in our smallest moments as we move through our life, as we move through our day. The details of life itself, the small habits, the rituals that affirm constantly in our most quiet moments, a diligent self-love, a diligent self-value. That is part of the gift of this time. It's one thing to say you love yourself. That's great. Everybody should. It's another thing to know that you are living congruently with what it is that you're saying. How do you show up for life from that place of self-love in those details, in those moments? How do you show up in terms of those things that maybe you repeatedly do that no one might see? And is it self-love, or are you judging yourself based on someone else's definition of self-love that was never yours to begin with? Because it's not for anyone else to judge. Intention is everything. And you know what your intention is because that is what self-knowledge asks us for. And with Mars in Virgo, we get to the nitty-gritty details of that self-knowledge so that we are clear, so that we are sure about the choices we're making in those small moments, that they are affirming self-value. They are fueling us. They are empowering us even more with the things that we know and we have decided for ourselves are best for us, that best encapsulate what it is to live in a way that is true to the being of ourselves. On Tuesday, Mercury changes signs, moving into the sign of Leo. So as Mars leaves, Mercury enters. And this is representative of the things we're talking about, the things that we are thinking about as well. And of course, Leo is the most fabulous of all the zodiac. It is the sign of royalty, the sign of celebrity, the sign of owning that part of you that knows you are worthy of shining and worthy of being seen. When Mercury moves into Leo, what tends to happen is we start talking about certain celebrity moments more as a collective. There are more standout celebrity moments that seem to encapsulate more of the masses. And these can include moments of truly fabulous presentation in clothing, on red carpets, with our hair in particular. I mean, Leo certainly is a sign that has glorious hair, just like the lion. And so we may see that as well. But of course, Venus is in shadow. And interestingly, it is at the end of this week that Venus will connect with Neptune. This is a key moment as part of the larger Venus retrograde season. I touched on this in the short video I did for Venus retrograde. season of 2023. And I've gotten lots of your questions, so I'll be doing a Q&A in the coming days as well about Venus retrograde season. But right now, Venus is in shadow, and it is at the end of this week, she will make her first exact alignment with Neptune. And this is an energy of ambivalence or uncertainty, or even apathy as well. With Venus in the sign of Leo, like the energy of Leo is the exact opposite of ambivalence. It's an energy of conviction, of knowing your heart, of letting it roar, letting it shine. And so having that Venus in shadow in this conversation that basically says, meh, is what it says. And Neptune is so much about glamour and fantasy and film. I feel like we may have moments that we as a collective are talking about, celebrity moments that involve fashion or beauty statements that leave us saying, meh, because Venus is in shadow after all. Now, I've already seen this. I'm not going to share any examples because I don't want to put anybody on the spot in terms of celebrities. Some A-list, some maybe not A-list exactly, but I don't want my work to be about that really, right? I don't want my intention to be to put anybody on the spot like that. But I'm seeing it. I am seeing some celebrity moments there where I'm like, oh my goodness, what is that supposed to be? That person is walking very confidently in an outfit that looks in a way that I don't think they realize it actually looks. And I think that some of this type of display is probably going to start to feel a little bit more obvious, especially as we navigate later into this week. Once we're talking more about Leo matters of what is fabulous, what makes for fabulous, mixed with a fashion meh kind of energy, well, it should be interesting to see which celebrities step up to that plate to show us exactly how it is that these energies are set to manifest for us now. What I love about this week for us, there's so much here. It's a fabulous, it is a meaningful and a powerful astrological moment without a doubt. And it is one of these moments now that invites us to consider with that much more depth and nuance and contemplation where it is that our power actually lies and the power that can be found by focusing on the day, what it is that's in front of us to do. That is the power of focus on those small moments that Mars and Virgo invites. But ultimately, I do think the sweet spot this week, well, it has to do with the sun speaking in harmony with Uranus. Now, that is just downright lucky, I will say. That luck is going to be deeply rooted, meaning that we'll find that luck emerging for us through our ancestors, our families, our home, our understanding, or evolving our understanding of family in some way. Because really, in many ways, all of us, all over the planet, we are intimately connected to each other and to everyone and everything. Every being as well is family. And it is a beautiful and healing and liberating thing to be able to see it, acknowledge it, and celebrate it, to know it within everywhere we go. Well, thank you so much for watching. What do you love about this week? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading you guys, and to prove it to you, here are some of my most recent favorite comments. Thank you to everybody who likes, who comments, who subscribes, who shares, who thumbs up. All of it means so much. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you. And of course, if you want to know how all this wonderful stuff this week speaks to you in your sign, log on to NadiyaShahSuperstars.com, where you get expanded, exclusive video scopes each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month with choose your membership rate. Higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are in the description below. And I am delighted to announce that Venus retrograde special horoscopes are now available in the superstar space. And it should be on Sunday or Monday that they will also be available for download at nadiyashah.com. I hope that you're following me online on one of these places, probably Instagram, or maybe I'll just post a video here on YouTube. I'm not sure just yet, but I am going to be doing a Q&A. I did post in the community here about what your questions were around Venus retrograde, because I've been asked a lot of different questions by friends and fans out there. So I'm looking forward to answering them. You can let me know. If you want, you can comment below, or that community post as well that I put up just a couple days ago. If you want, you can comment on that. Let me know somewhere on Instagram, even on Threads as well. Yes, I am on Threads as Nadiya Shah, one word. Let me know what your questions are. I'm happy to answer them. And it is going to be an incredible Venus retrograde season. Enjoy. Synchronicity University has some incredible programs underway right now this July with superstar astrologers, celebrated brilliant minds in the field of astrology, and friends of mine as well. All of us together at Synchronicity University this July. Classes are now single classes available, which is just $35 a class. You can join us for one, you can join us for multiple, you can download classes that have already happened, and so much more. And it is Christopher Renstrom's class that actually is going to start this Monday. Isn't that exciting? So you can still sign up for his class called How I Read a Chart. You can still sign up for it at synchronicityuniversity.com. Come and learn incredible astrology from incredible astrologers at synchronicityuniversity.com. Links are in the description below. And thank you. Thank you so much for this moment with you. Thank you for your trust. I'm truly so grateful for it. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.